What's up, everybody? My name is Brandon McCollum, also known as emcee, and this is Nice Minds. I'm joined by a special guest, my good friend, AK Knowledge. What's good, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How you been?
Busy
Busy?
for as much as limited as it feels.
Yeah,
Staying busy.
that's good, man. I feel like the last time we actually saw each other in person was probably like 3 years ago at this point when we finished that album, that yet unreleased album.
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll go in a little background how we know each other. So we worked together at the community center, and I was actually trying to think of when we met. Cause did you work there already when I started? Cause I started in '05. When did you start there? Do you remember?
No, I think you were already working there, and I was just like coming around hanging out. And then because Frankie worked there, my cousin,
Oh, that's right.
and then kind of like my volunteering for dances and stuff. The high school or junior high dances turned into being something I was just started working there for.
Yeah, yeah. And then it turned out that we both were hip hop dudes, and we bonded off of that shit. And then yeah, we started doing a bunch of shows. I don't know how many shows we did together. Probably at least a handful, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was just at that Jay Quiznos not too long ago.
Oh, JC's Jay Cousineau's.
Yep. Yep.
That's crazy. I haven't been there in a minute, but we were frequent there, and that was when I like first really started booking shows. I think the second or third show that I ever booked was at JC's.
Yeah, I mean, I still got one of those flyers floating around here somewhere in a cardboard box, I'm sure.
Those were dope little shows, though. Those were fun,
Yeah,
man. And
for
it
sure.
it was always like they gave us a flat rate too, so we didn't really. I mean, we
Oh yeah.
promoted, but we didn't have to worry about how many people we brought in the door because we were getting paid the same regardless. So I was able to be like, "Yo, I can give you, 50 to $100 for this show and guarantee that." That was dope. That
Yeah,
was
for
fire
sure.
because shows weren't like that, in general. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
especially if you find other people that are willing to work with you like that. That's definitely a good time to be had. Because I know
right?
there's a few stuff, like you said, there was a few shows going on there.
Yeah, that was fire. Um, yeah, so we did a bunch of shows, and then you're part of a crew called the Initials with your boy. What's Brent's stage
Be
name? Or
creative.
Be Creative? That's right. I
Yeah.
blanked for a second. And didn't weren't we gonna start a group called the Initials, and then like for whatever reason
Yeah.
that didn't happen? Like I feel like I came up with that name too. I
Hey, however it did happen, it was something like that. And I
I
was
feel
like,
like I came up with that name because I think it was supposed to be me, you, and G Dot, if I'm not mistaken.
oh shit, yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
I think that's what that was.
I think you're right.
And
Yeah.
we all realized that our rap names were part of our initials because you're, AK. I don't even know what AK stands for. It's probably your middle name, right?
No, I didn't even know what it stood for either until much later. It was my mom, she was like, "No, your AK originally stood for Andrew Cool. You spelled cool with a K." I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize I was doing that." But then I was like, "Hey, makes sense. All right,
So
I'll go
so
with
that's
that."
been a thing since you were like little then?
Yeah, because I first was started writing when I was about 12 years old. I think I wrote my first song, and then after that, it was just didn't actually do music until I was 16. Um, I did my first show at the Dinky Towner with Rich Garvey, who's still very dope cat around
Yep.
Minneapolis and definitely holding down for Minneapolis. And at the time, he was going by Young Son, but Mike Dreams.
Oh, yep.
Um, yep. And then
You were the one that told me about him back when he went by Young Son.
yeah, man, and they're both still great at making the music that they do, and then Hype Hell, and that was like Mike Dreams' cousin or something like that. Um,
I didn't know they were related. I thought they were just good friends.
I think so, anyways. I could be wrong, but yeah, I mean, we all were connected and got down there. Was doing the Dinky Towner, and then like shows at 16 was very limited, obviously, because you're not doing
Right.
shows as 18, let alone. And then we did a show together too. It was you, me, and Nemo, and I don't even remember who else was on the ticket. But it was like for my birthday. I dipped out on my birthday and came and did a show with you guys. It was
Was
like
it
a
at
half skate park.
It was at a scale. Oh yeah, it was this. It was in Rogers, right?
Yeah, yep.
You did that with us? I don't
Yeah, it was
even.
a huge location.
That was dope. Those were dope
Yeah.
shows. I forgot what it was. It was called Showcase, I think.
Yeah, I think it was called a showcase, yeah.
I think that's what it was called. That had to have been like 2007 or 8.
Yeah, cause yeah, it makes sense. It's probably 16, 17 years old, and I was making music that was terrible quality, but at the same time, just pushing it out and then performing that with I know what that was one of the first times I actually got to perform that kind of music too. So you guys actually opened a stage for me at the same time.
That's dope. I guess I didn't even realize that. I didn't realize that was your like first shows, I guess.
Yeah, it was when they started getting them on, and then like 17, 18, or yeah, about 17 or 18 years old, it was like hitting all of Minneapolis, St. Paul, going all touring out throughout like the Midwest and stuff like that. Um, but that was kind of early on, and then yeah, then me and Initials got, or we went together as Initials, me and Be Creative, and then we just dropped some stuff in like 2010 with 15 Minutes Till Midnight, and then our most recent one was back in 2016, kind of before all this stuff started going to shit,
Right?
and that was uh, The Night Belongs to the Poet and the Madman.
Yeah, that was
Both
dope.
like albums we try to make more like socially aware. They were always had a concept to the music, and then we always just dropped some singles that was putting out more of doing whatever we want to do.
Hell yeah. That's what's up, man. Yeah, and then between 2000, I mean, I think it was just 2017, we worked on an album together and we recorded 10 songs, and then I'm trying to think of how the timeline because my life just got crazy. But you had your kid, like
Yep.
literally like we recorded the last song, we were finished, and then I want to say like the next week or something, your son was born or something like
Yeah.
that. It was like right during that time. So we finished this album, and months go by. Like I start mixing it or whatever, but at the same time I was working on this other dude's EP, and we were supposed to do like a double release party, and you had tickets to fucking Bill Maher, I think. And you couldn't you couldn't do the you're like, "Fuck, I got these tickets, I can't do the show." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" So, like during that time, I like since I was working on the EP and I was doing the full album, like I kind of put your album to the side since you weren't doing the release party. But then like literally like we were going to do it, and then my mom got cancer in June of that year, so it was like right after that, like 2 months after that that show that was like the release party or whatever. And yeah, and then like my life just got stupid. I mean, for like a whole year and a half, I was helping my mom and dad and when she had cancer, and like it was just so hard to manage everything, and stuff just fell through the cracks. And then so yeah, this like literally like a month ago, I was like, "Fuck, we need to finish that album." Like
Yeah.
it's 3 years overdue, and it's a dope project. Um
It's another one of those that just gotta have a lot of fun on working on it, and I feel like the whole project together has been just a party.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean cuz then they're all beats that they were literally from probably like 2007 to like 2017, like in that 10 years, like I made all those beats. So it's crazy because they're all like super boom bap. Like back when I like mostly only did like chop beats when I like the Kanye style
Sure.
stuff. So it was all that stuff, and
Open that vault back up.
yeah, open that vault exactly. Yeah, but it was super fire though, and that project was super fun because it was one of those where like since we knew each other so well, I felt like I was comfortable enough to tell you like, nah, dude, spit that again. So I would make you do like sometimes 20 takes of like one verse if I remember correctly.
Yeah, for sure, and that's definitely helps out a lot with being able to, a lot of those beats and stuff that we were working on were things that were higher tempo, or they were doing things that were different with my element or something like that too, and just being able to go in there and have somebody else that's talking about synchronizing where those bars need to be at, or maybe there's one one line too much or something like that. yeah, it was definitely a good creative process too.
Yeah, it was super dope, and I finally wanna release that this year in 2021, like but we still don't have a title, bro.
That's
Like,
true.
I feel like we should come up with one on this freaking podcast, like, on the spot. I mean, 'cause so what were the options? Like, I know Codex Funk was one.
You're just gonna run the poll,
Yeah,
let people
yeah,
take the
run the
do the
yeah,
poll.
vote for this album title. And I mean, I mean, 'cause it's very boom bappy, and we have, like, an old lady doing the intro, so I'm thinking, like, I really want something, like, old school, like, Return of Boom Bap or, um, knowledge something knowledge, maybe because, like, older and wiser. Um,
I was pushing that K for cool.
K for cool is that's dope too.
But then you understand, then you know after AK what right
Right.
there. There's always a
Yep.
little secret.
True. True, true. So what have you been up to lately? You been writing? You been working on anything? Like what type of stuff has 2020 and 2021 thrown your way?
Yeah, I mean, always say writing first and foremost, being a writer. Um, but then just recently, with B, we had started. He had been working with a couple of his good friends that have done music their whole lives, and they had formed a band together and asked if I wanted to join in on that. So another project that I'm diving into,
Oh, that's
working with.
dope. Oh, like a
Yeah,
full live band?
yep. So it'll be a three piece with B on guitar. We got his buddy Matt on drums, and then his buddy Corbin, he's playing bass.
Oh, sick.
So they're all lifelong friends. So they got a good vibe going together. When I came in, I was just coming to feel what they were doing, seeing how they were pulling things together, and I was like, all right, yeah, sounds good. Let's I can write to anything. So no matter what kind of style they want to go to, because I had a couple different genres and ways that they were making music together. And I was like, yeah, all this sounds fresh. Like I'm ready to test my writing skills, my performance in different ways. Because yeah, being stuck in one way, I don't think is a good creative outlet. You get too comfortable and get too used to doing the same old, same old.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I as far as me producing, I'm all over the place. Like, I mean, my original comfort zone was, chopping samples, and now I'm in the trap stuff. I'm trying to get into like
Hey,
pop stuff. I'm trying to get into like more R&B stuff because I mean, I've done tons of songs with singers, but only singers like with hooks. Like I
yeah,
still haven't produced a full song with a singer before, and I've been trying to do that for a minute. So that's like my next goal as far as like producing goes.
yeah. Are you thinking like something that's gonna be like more slow, or what are you thinking?
I don't
R and B
know.
kind of style, or?
Yeah, I'm thinking well cuz I know tons of girls that are really really dope singers. And I got a few of them that I really want to produce for. Like one girl is more like laid back trip hop type stuff. Another
Okay.
one is like straight R&B, like soul type stuff.
See, and that's what's interesting too. You get different vibes being, you know, having. I've played showcases where it's just, there you'll have hip hop, rock. There'll be an acoustic. There's just it's cool to have that kind of variety. It's easy to throw together like one genre show, and then everybody just knows what they're going to get. But when people show up and it's kind of just like, damn, okay, there's all these different kinds of music going on. It's like a mini festival, but just inside the venue. I've always dig that kind of aspect. Definitely hitting the road and people being like, "Oh, I don't usually listen to rap, but I was really liking what you guys were doing." Especially when he was back there. He's always played piano and guitar on stage, so it was it's always good to have people that are open. You're opening people's minds and getting them kind of get that door kicked down.
Yeah, I feel like when you guys started the initials, I feel like that's when I got really busy and I started working weekends. So I feel like I've never fully seen you guys perform together. So I didn't realize that Brent was playing keys on stage too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah, I know
dope.
you got really busy. I know I was listening to some of the other podcasts prior, and I was like, "Yep, I remember when that shit was happening." Doing, trying to do music, do work full time work. But I mean, it's kind of one of those things that it's been a constant theme going throughout the everybody I've heard you interview too. Is just like, yeah, I mean, since 2016, things have really just kicked into high gear, and it's been a trying to find a balance of life and
Yeah.
keeping that stuff all pulled together.
Yeah, man. I mean, for real, especially yeah, the last 5 years have just been a whirlwind, man. I mean, especially with like when I started Nice Entertainment, and it was like, boom, things were just like coming together with that. And then I know we were gonna bring you in, and like I was just so busy with like school and fucking this team, and like I just got lost in everything, man. To the point where I just got overwhelmed, man. I mean, like you said, like you listen to the other ones, so I know you know that like Nice Entertainment is just going to be my personal brand going forward. It's just going to
Yeah,
be
it was
like,
interesting. I found that out.
yeah, yeah. So I
But it's
mean,
understandable. I mean, you've always had these different creative outlets that you've tried to express yourself and different avenues that you've gone down. And I think this one has been sounding really good. I think
thanks,
this has
man.
been a nice one to put together.
Hell yeah,
It's definitely been a feeder on the ground, I feel like for sure, and it's moving forward.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy because I mean, I literally like I want to have conversations with everybody. I mean, especially people that I have a history with, especially people that I vibe with creatively, and that we just know each other really well. Like the one I did with Nemo, and the one I did with Chance and my buddy
Yeah.
Brandon. And
I was listening to that one with Nemo. I was just sitting there like, damn, I wish I was in that conversation. You guys
yeah,
are getting some good points. That's I like it's been cool to hear other people's perspectives, especially when, like you were saying too, being tight knit within this hip hop scene, within this music scene in general in Minnesota. I mean, even if you don't know somebody that well, you know somebody, you're aware of that person kind of, it seems like.
right. Yeah, exactly. It's such a small world, and it's really dope. I mean, have you been following the Wiseman at all? That podcast.
A little bit, yeah.
I've got to interview both of them, and Joe from the Wiseman kind of was like a mentor to me starting this, which is crazy because I've been such a fan of theirs for forever. And to me, they're like the goats of podcasting locally. They
Okay.
they wouldn't I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for them. Like I wouldn't probably even have the idea. I mean, not that I directly stole their idea or anything, but like, they were a huge influence, and the fact that Joe took me under his wing to really help me get started and stuff, that was mind blowing to me. That was huge. That was a huge cosign before I even launched this. I feel like, so
Yeah, it's a good example of people wanting to just reach out and connect. I mean, and that's kind of people get their little cliques and groups within the music scene, but as long I think I find a lot of folks are really open to being able to work together, you know.
yeah, I think especially after these, couple years, whenever like the COVID stuff it gets better, and people are willing to go out more and all that stuff. I feel like it's gonna be a whole new scene, man. I feel
Yeah.
like I don't know, man. I've been feeling this for a little while. That I feel like it's gonna be the scene that I always wanted it to be. I feel like it's gonna
Think so?
be. I don't know, man. I got a feeling. I got a really good feeling, man. Because like I said, like people reached out to me that probably would have been too busy beforehand. With
Yeah.
especially like with me, I would have been too busy too. Like 2020 gave me a chance to like breathe and like figure out what I want to do and get back to my roots and stuff like that. And I think it was the same for a lot of creatives, and it gave us kind of the chance to look at our phones more and click around on Facebook a little more, or like, or social media in general, and like, oh, okay, this dude's doing that, and I've gotten to connect with people, like I said, like that would have been way too busy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting seeing when this stuff opens up again. I think first and foremost, those that are hurting, they're gonna be wanting to have those bigger names coming through the door, making sure
Yep.
it was always about a draw for the most part, but even those people, even those venues that were, catering to locals and getting them on there, Friday nights and Saturday nights are gonna be a hell of a thing once they begin. And I mean, here might be one thing, but I know even I was just over in Stillwater recently for a birthday, and one of the venues that we were in, they had live music playing. Then all of a sudden, a five-piece band came on. Granted, they weren't the favoring mass kind of crowd, anyways, but
Yeah.
the people are trying to put live music out there, and It's just going to be a matter of how comfortable other artists are and how comfortable people are going to be willing to be. Now, it's going to be a lot more like the sitting at a table kind of a deal, and maybe that
Mhm.
social distance in a while. But as long as you're there and you can perform and express yourself, right? As long as we
Right.
can get back in there and start to generate people coming in and having that feeling back, because that's what it really comes down to too. Just being able to just have that energy.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't get that energy performing on Zoom or performing, your
Right.
live shows on YouTube kind of a deal.
Yeah, I've been hearing, one person mentioned this, and they didn't go into detail, but, I can't remember which one of my friends, talked about virtual reality
Oh,
being, like,
hey,
a thing. So if you think about
yeah,
that, I mean, that would even with a live stream, but virtual reality, like, you could be put, like, in the venue, you know? So,
there
I
you go.
mean, that would be way better than just, like, looking at a computer screen or your phone, you know?
Hey, if I had that technology and I had a bigger name that was going to be doing it, I'd try it out, even if I had to
Right,
pay for a ticket. But at this
right.
point, I'm desperate.
I think everybody is kinda desperate at this point. I mean, and yeah, it's just a huge question mark, man. I mean, it's like, when is it gonna when are venues gonna start opening? What venues are even gonna be around?
Yeah, that's a big question too.
Because Honey shut down, I mean, what else? Well, Triple Rock, I think, shut down before the,
Yeah, they had shut down right before too.
yeah, and so a bunch of venues just, like then I talked to some other friends too, and Live Nation is buying up, like, everything. So, as far as, like, it's gonna be cool for bigger names coming through for sure, but, who's gonna give the little guys a chance, the up and comers? So it might be up to, like, some promoters to, like, start grabbing people to, like, open for big names and stuff like that.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah, it's just gonna be really interesting.
On top of it all, like talking about bigger names are going to be the first ones to step their foot in the door. That's
Yep.
going to be a long list to wait behind, and
Mhm.
it's going to be. And when they've been shrunk down to the bigger venues, like you said, it's going to be those bigger names packing those bigger venues first and foremost.
Yep.
The little guys want to eat. It's going to be maybe new venues open up.
Yeah.
I've heard of new businesses opening up here and there. So even throughout 2020, it's just a matter of their positioning, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot more, especially this year. I think people are gonna start figuring out new things and new ways to kind of pool their resources. I mean, even like with the whole like stock market thing, like I feel like because they pooled together and like brought down
Yeah.
like I mean, I feel like people are gonna start doing stuff like that, but for good. Like I can
Yeah.
see people banding together like a whole crew of people and putting together a venue, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, so I think it's gonna be interesting. I mean, I'm already like I'm not in talks of opening a venue, but I'm in
Hey, why
talks
not?
of like you know, uh, getting like a space essentially. I don't want to say too much, but yeah, I mean, I'm even in talks of doing stuff that I've never done before. So I mean, so I think we're gonna see a lot more of that stuff coming up, and I think it's gonna be a up to people like us to kind of just write a new chapter. You know?
Yeah, and here in Minnesota, though, especially the winter times can be hard.
Yeah.
When it comes back to, you know, art world, that kind of times do shows outside. People can be spaced out
Right.
outside. It's a
Yep.
little bit different, doing a show that's going to be like set up in a parking lot or, they got a stage set up somewhere, a little bit different. But right now, especially, the 6 months of the year that we got snow, it's freezing
Yeah.
cold out. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. It's definitely gonna be tough, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be really interesting. What else are you working on? Just the band thing right now? Is that your main focus or?
Yeah, primarily. I mean, we've just it's probably the last month now, just working on that and working on that keyboard there, trying to teach myself a little piano.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That
Just trying to do some other creative outlets.
hell yeah. What
Mhm.
program are you using?
I'm not using anything. I've just been I forget what it's called, but they had something on just like through YouTube, training myself, taking some tutorials, and then jumping into songs. Just learning. left hand, right hand, and putting them together. Just more so, I'm having fun with it.
That's what's
You
up.
know,
That's sick. Hell yeah. I mean, that's a great skill, man. I it's something that I haven't fully grasped yet. I mean, I don't know if you've seen pictures of my keyboard lately, but it's got
no.
it.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
It's got all these stickers on it to like help me remember what like key signatures and all that stuff. Um,
Hey, I'm a
but
sucker for the
actually,
piano.
yeah, it's got all those.
Oh, nice. That's what's up.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, that's dope. Definitely a skill that I've been trying to learn as well.
I always have like the rhythm. That's one thing I could definitely just hear the beginning of the song and just be like, "Yep, I know what that is." Um, so like to have the rhythm already, I feel like just getting into songs. I was like playing "Melancholy Hill" by the Gorillaz. That's one of my
Oh,
son's
nice.
favorite songs. So I was just getting into that, and then one that was really difficult. I was trying to play "Blinding Lights" by The Weekend.
Oh yeah,
It's just jamming out. Like I can feel it, but it's like trying to put two and two together, get both sides of the mind working, and but it's been fun.
I was just watching an interview with who's that producer? I think Ryan Tedder, is that the dude, the singer of he's in that band. Can't remember what band he's in, but he's a producer, and he was talking about how nobody saw Blinding Lights being as huge of a hit as it was. But it's like
Oh
how
man,
how did you not see that? Like that song is universally dope. I mean,
yeah.
it's just one of those songs where you I don't know, you can't hate on it. Like it just sounds
Tell
so
me it
good.
doesn't like bring you to the Vice City moments.
Right? Right? Yeah, it's got like that Vice City like 80s vibe. Then that's the kick I've been on lately too. Like I've been making like 80s pop jams lately. Like that's what my production is kind of, and even like my trap beats I'm throwing in like little, like I was just working on something today, like I had this like 80s synth, but then all of a sudden I'm putting an 808 over it and like trap and stuff, and I mean the weekend is just been a huge influence in that stuff because I feel like a lot of 80s stuff is just kind of coming back too, which I
Oh
love.
yeah. You see Miley Cyrus doing it too. She's even
Yep.
got the mullet to go.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
yeah, man, those guys be jamming out. A lot of times those producers go unknown and they're putting it down. They're holding it down for a lot of those folks, but Weekends he's got the talent to do it behind it too. And same with somebody like Cyrus. They've got the talent to do it on top of it all, but
Right.
they those producers are holding it down.
Yeah, it is. It's super interesting. It's a different landscape now as far as like you were saying, like unknown producers.
Hmm.
I mean, like back in our day, we used to have like, big superstar producers. Like you knew who the producers were. Like,
That whole
you
entire album, that was Timbaland.
yeah, Timbaland, Pharrell or the Neptunes, and fucking, Swiss Beats. Like you had these
Oh yeah.
main rap producers that you would always hear on every major record, but now like it's like they're all over the place.
Unless they're throwing their name into that shit, then you definitely know who it is.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like Mike Will made it. Oh, okay.
Yep.
That is who made it.
With those producer tags and stuff. I've
Yeah.
been I've been thinking about, cuz I'm still coming up with like my production name. And I gone from like my old name Bam Bam Beats, and then I'm like, but I want to keep my brand, nice stuff, so I'm like Nice Guy Beats, and
Yeah.
I'm try I have a vocal tag that I'm thinking about throwing in there, but I don't know if I feel like I'm too old to do it, man. Like I feel like it's only for like the younger cats. That's dope that you're starting to play though. Do you think your son's gonna be musical?
Oh yeah, he's got everything at his fingertips. And
That's what's up.
he's already jamming out to everything. Like I
Yeah,
said, his favorite song, one of his favorite songs right now is that Gorilla song. Just he feels it. He feels it. He's moving to it.
that's what's
He's
up.
singing it.
Is
It
that off
doesn't
the new
matter.
album?
No, this is an older one, but
Oh, okay.
he enjoys a lot of those songs too. But they do all the animation stuff, and they have things jumping out
Oh,
of the mouths and
true.
things
Yeah,
like
I'm sure
that.
the
He's
kids would
just like,
love that.
ew, I don't. Now he likes some of it, and he'll be like, oh, I don't like that. What is that? Just like relax. It's a cartoon. You good?
Oh yeah, because they are pretty dark. It's probably scary for a little
Oh yeah,
kid.
yeah. They do some odd things. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Creative, different things.
yeah. He seems like he's got a personality though, with everything that I've seen, like the videos and stuff, like him dancing and stuff, and like just saying funny ass stuff.
Yeah, he knows how to move, and um, yeah, he's got all the instruments he needs. It says for drum. It says for drum. Oh, he does have actually a good digital drum set he got for Christmas. Uh, but yeah, all that comes with timing.
Yeah,
He gets
that's
it. He
dope.
gets down and jams with them all. Whenever friends come over, or even like relatives and stuff, they all got to come into the room and jam out.
That's dope. Yeah, I was talking to Breakneck the Mage, and his son is 5
Mm,
now, and he's been doing like unboxing stuff with him, and his son has kind of
nice.
started to get into music stuff as well. It's gonna be super interesting, like with our generation and our kids and stuff. Because we have like all the tools at our fingertips that we didn't have when we were younger. So like the kids have
Yeah,
like every possibility. So like the next generation, it's gonna be wild, bro. Like I mean,
it is.
especially like with the stuff that I know you're probably raising them on tons of good stuff. I'm sure. I know Breakneck's probably raising his kid on tons of good stuff. Like I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
The next generation is gonna come up with some fire, bro. Like I have a good feeling.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, like you're saying too, you got these kind of tutorials you can do. You got, and you don't even have to really, if you want to spend time on something, you can definitely learn a craft,
Right.
and that's going to be, you know, so long as you're focused, that'll
Yep.
be a thing. You don't have to go to school to try to learn these kind of things at this point.
Right.
A lot of people are self-taught, but now they don't even necessarily have to be self-taught. They can, spend that time doing it with, you know, what avenue works best for them. You
Yeah. I
know,
mean, speaking of which, I mean, cause our generation is kind of learning like we're like drowning in debt. I mean, like, do you think you're gonna be? I mean, I know it's a long ways away, but do you think you'll be pushing your kid to go to college?
I mean, it's gonna be totally up to him. Hopefully, he got a scholarship. I mean,
Right,
your kid's supposed to be uh, a better version of you, if you will, and
right,
we'll be
true
pushing
that.
for that.
Yeah,
But hey, if he doesn't want to, then fuck it.
right. But it's just gonna be super interesting. I mean, like you said, like there's so many different things to train yourself on, like different avenues now.
I knew a lot of kids that were going to college just to get that loan and spend it on fucking a rap video.
Right? Yeah, just pimping the system.
Hell yeah, trying to get their name out there.
Yeah, but I just have a feeling especially after, when people start really like, because the job landscape is going to be totally different. I mean,
Oh yeah,
COVID's gonna change everything, and who knows, like with the talk of like canceling student loans and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't see that happening like fully or whatever, but
high hopes.
yeah, high hopes.
Keep
Exactly.
dreaming.
Yeah. I don't see it happening, but it's just gonna be a really interesting landscape, and I'm just interested to see what the future holds with the school, the future of like the concept of college. I don't know, man. I see it changing because I'm obsessed with Gary Vee, and Gary Vee's huge on like don't go into debt, don't go to school and stuff like that, and I'm like I got way too much debt on my plate. So like I'm just like, damn, I mean, I don't regret going to school, but at the same time it's like damn, I wonder, what I could have used that money on if I wouldn't have gone to school.
Shit,
And
if I would have had that money,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
a lot of those things came around as a savior sometimes, but definitely going to school first and foremost was for me for definitely having that education. One of the main issues that we see, even with folks that don't have a little bit more education, or maybe they slept more than I did in the class, is they don't know how to decipher what's actually factual and what may be just
Yeah.
BS in them.
That's true. That's a good
Originally, we
point.
were thinking it was like, oh, just grandma and grandpa on Facebook, and they just weren't checking, patriotsareus.com. But then we come to find out, no, it's actually our generation too that they're just getting sucked into this ideology and they don't hear nothing else. And that's what they get trapped into.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I didn't
They
really
need
think
to have a
about.
class specifically in high school to just know how, if you can go through and you can write a paper and, you can cite Wikipedia or whatever the case may be, they need to have one that just why can't you, what's the BS on that, just spend a whole semester on that.
Yeah.
Because these junior high kids and stuff get into it, they don't know no better.
I didn't even think about that, bro. Like you just blew my mind. Like just the to be able to discerning of to discern what's factual and what's, fiction. It's like it's so obvious to people like you and I, like, I don't know, but some people it's they just that fall for anything.
Yeah, you really gotta if you never had something that you really believed in strongly and then just had that shattered, you didn't really have an education yet. Because that's
Right.
definitely something that having, spend my time learning under professors that came from all different backgrounds or all different parts of the world was broke down to I had guidance in what I was doing. I may not think that it should have been the cost that it was costing me at, but that's a whole different story. There's a reason behind that. The for profit of college is a whole other thing, but there's no reason why we shouldn't have universities that are there to further educate its population because an educated population is what's going to turn around a shitty government, you know?
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, I'm all about education for sure. But yeah, I mean, I was mainly talking about the whole price tag of it,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. That's that is
because
wild.
I mean, I love my education. My IPR gave me a great education, but that price tag on it, man,
Oof.
unless something pops with this man, like, ugh,
Yeah.
I'm screwed, bro. Like,
It's rough.
straight up, it's
Well,
rough.
those even if they wipe out student debt, it's going to be federal government. It's not going to be. I doubt it's going to be state and
Yeah.
private loans.
Well, luckily my private loan is way smaller than my federal loan.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
that federal loan cancellation will do me some good if if anything happens with it, which I
Every little
won't
bit helps.
exactly, which I won't hold my breath, but we will see. You spend a lot of time reading. I mean, like, look at those books behind you. Damn. What you been what you what you been studying?
uh, Trying to get. I never took really any economic classes during my time, so
Oh,
I've
okay.
been reading a lot more on about the economy, doing more of that kind of studies because that's more where I'm ignorant at.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that actually today. I was thinking about because I was like the only time I took an economics class was senior year in high school, and I ended up you probably saw in one of my podcasts I was a super senior, so I ended up like I only needed like 6 credits to graduate or something or like 4, but like I did not graduate on time, and one of them was economics that I failed.
Oof.
And so I had to like retake that again in 2004. And like I just remember I was like looking at the whole stock market thing that's happening and like really not understanding anything of it. Like I don't get it. And I'm like, damn, like I should have paid attention in economics and like really studied this years ago and like learned all about that stuff.
For sure. I mean, we practice it every day, supply
Right.
and demand and what's beneficial to us, what's a better trade-off for us because we only got a certain amount of time in a day. But to actually know it, the insides and outs of it helps a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as it comes to like the Wall Street stuff going on right now, that's more of my ignorance. Like I know the situation, but
Right.
the exact reasons of how it's occurring, not exactly.
Yeah.
But I was kind of
Same.
already in I was already getting into it, and then what this stuff happened, it's just entertainment.
Right.
And I'm like, I got friends that have stocks in it. They were having a party.
That's like all I've been hearing about like on Facebook and like everywhere I turn is just that is like my whole timeline. So that's why it had me like really looking into it cuz I've been thinking about it for a while. I mean, back when me and remember Josh Bianco, did you ever meet him?
uh
He ran Nice Entertainment with me when I first started it and he got
Oh
really
yes, yes.
into the stock market like way back in the day and he was like always talking about it and he I mean he predicted like the things that that dude predicted are like stuff that's like happening now. Like it was insane. Like he saw like the whole economy stock future basically and he was like I was thinking about this recently. I'm like, damn, that dude like was talking about all this stuff that's happening now and saying like in like 5 6 years like some wild shit's gonna go down and it's happening. And like
Here
I
we are.
literally was like just thinking about that. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, back when he was like doing the stock stuff, I was like, damn, I really need to learn that stuff.
Yeah, that's where the money is at.
Yeah. Yeah,
People, but a lot of times it's people that already have capital making it off of their own capital.
right,
That's where it's tough for us. So that's why they weren't too happy about what was going on,
right.
because little guys are getting a piece
All these outsiders coming in and just fucking shit up left and right.
for sure.
Yeah, it's really interesting, man. I don't know what to think of it. The future is gonna be a very very intriguing thing because we're gonna see more and more just crazy shit like this happening. I mean, especially the longer that people are in lockdown, I think the more and like the longer that people are unemployed and all this stuff, like it's gonna be some wild times, man. And we're gonna see some interesting shit.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, especially, technology is only going to be growing. You
Yep,
know, these jobs that are going to get replaced are going to continue to get replaced.
yep,
No,
exactly.
they're not coming back as much as a politician can chit chat and scream and holler about it. They're
Yep,
not coming back. Put your kid in a STEM program.
yep. Straight up, man. There's certain jobs that are just gonna be dead.
Yeah, a lot of these kids, starting off with their tablets and that kind of a deal, they're going to be all hooked up and wired to it, and that might benefit them, especially if you're doing a creative outlet like music
Right.
or art. Gonna see it evolve in different ways. What's kind of surprising though is that not a lot of the stuff you would have thought that things like EDM music would have been more popular now because it had more of a futuristic kind of a sound, kind of a deal.
Mhm.
But I guess raving and that kind of deal. But
Yeah.
like, no, a lot of the sound has stayed the same. I mean, hip hop is really transcended. It,
Yeah.
there might be some tweaks and some different ways of presenting the music, but I mean, it's sunk into every kind of crevice, whether it be country or it's been in the rock and roll. Like
Yep.
hip hop is the poetry form of this music is here to stay. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I do feel like we were talking about like the next generation. I do see like boom bap like being reintroduced or like, you know, 80s or like 90s or coming back and stuff like that. I think a lot of people are going to be like looking I think, I was thinking about this today too. We had tons of time on our hands, so, I know for me personally, I was going back and listening to like all the old stuff, and like rediscovering my love for 80s and 90s and stuff like that. So I've been revisiting,
Mm.
like I said, like I was making some 80s jams and like I've even made some more boom bap beats and stuff like that. So I think we're gonna see a lot more experimentation and genre blending and things coming back in style that have been out of style for a while. Because I know a lot of people that were complaining about the mumble rap and the trap stuff and all that stuff. I think that's not going anywhere because I don't think those type of people are going to change their style that much. But I do think that there is going to be, as far as hip hop goes, there's going to be more stuff, pushed to the forefront. Like more boom bap is gonna kind of come back, and I'm even noticing like Travis Scott's last album, he had like boom bap beats on there
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah. People want to bring it back to the basics.
Yeah, right back to the basics, man. So I'm excited to see what the future holds because I got a good feeling, man. I mean, it's we're always gonna have that stuff where us old heads are gonna be like, oh, that's trash. But I don't know, man. Like
It's always
I
been there.
it's always been there. It's always been there. I mean, I will take the mumble rap of these days over Soldier Boy any day. Like that nah. Like I was thinking about like mainstream in like 2005, 2006 and that's when I was like nah, mainstream's trash, like underground only. And like sometimes like some of that stuff like I'll go back and listen to that I kind of like now, but like for the most part I'm like that era was the worst. Like at least now like I fuck with the beats way more.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're playing something like a Lil Yachty or whatever it was, where they're just like,
Lil Yachty. Yeah.
whatever the case may be, that shit's out there. But people be jamming to it.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, people are blowing up off of TikTok. Well, actually, that's where I'm digging a lot of the beats that are coming
Dude,
out. The
straight
TikTok is getting
up.
fresh.
Straight up, bro.
Where's that
Straight
coming from?
up. Like my girl's obsessed with TikTok and
Those beat drops, man.
man, some of those beats are just fire.
Hell yeah.
Fire. My girl keeps saying, "You got to make a TikTok. You got to get on there. You got to start like doing your beat stuff on there." And I'm familiar with TikTok, but I haven't quite learn how I want to like my style when it comes to making that stuff. So this year, hopefully, I get into that lane because I would love to.
It's tempting, but I haven't created the account yet.
Yeah, I got an account. I posted one thing, which is hilarious. I did like I low key. I didn't post it on Facebook or anything, but when Trump was talking about the massive dumps,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
made a I put like him over a beat saying like they did dumps, massive dumps, and like I made like a little thing. And I got like a couple hundred views on TikTok, and I got like a couple hundred views on YouTube. I didn't even like post it anywhere. I literally like or like share it. I just
Yeah.
I just posted it on YouTube and TikTok, and I could just saw what it did. I think I posted on Instagram too. Um, but
Organically, it just boom.
organically it just kind of did like a little something something. But I definitely want to get on there and do more like comedy beat stuff and like or like just fun stuff like that. I want to do more mashups because mashups are fun too, and I've been seeing a lot of like mashup TikTok stuff.
Yeah. I mean, people get really creative on that kind of thing, and I
Yep.
mean, who would have foreseen that coming? You
Right.
know, it's
Exactly.
another way that, and music's a big part of it.
Yeah, huge
You
part
know.
of it. Yeah, and people criticize these social media platforms and stuff like that. They're like, "Oh, they're for, little kids," or like, they criticize whatever, but like to
That's Jason
me,
Derulo's home.
right. Yeah, it's Jason Derulo's home exactly. But I see it as just another lane for people to get creative, for people to pop off, man. I mean, it's hard to hate on those dudes, like especially the younger generation blowing up off of it. Especially
Oh
like you
yeah.
said, like when the beats are fucking fire, So I have good hopes, man. I think that the next generation we underestimate them a lot. Like we criticize a lot, but I got a good feeling about a lot of those cats, man.
I think that's a pretty good example of how the younger crowd has recognized how to go actually out there and get themselves heard, because coming up it was like the MySpace days where there was unlimited connections.
Yeah,
Nowadays, younger cats don't want to be on Facebook or something like that where those
right.
algorithms are just kicking you into the same people over and over again. They want something like a Twitter, or they want something like a TikTok where it's gonna be random. You could have your select views that you're gonna see, but you can have that openness if you want it.
Yeah.
And that's where people enjoy that stuff, man. They don't want to be limited. They want to see the world, see what other people are doing. Because I know one big thing that, especially with this all going on, that like Twitch, the live streaming has definitely been a big thing for.
Oh yeah.
You can go on there and see people doing music. You can just sit there and watch people jam out, see do one people do one man bands. A lot of people I like Mayday, they'll do like a live freestyle session.
Oh, that's
Mers,
dope.
yeah, Mers will start off freestyling and then jump into a video game or something.
Yeah, you've been doing like game streams on there, haven't you?
Yeah, doing a little bit of mix of both, but definitely haven't devoted much time to it. But I definitely it's very interesting to go in there and people that usually especially growing up, you're like, oh dang, these people are like inspirations. And then now they're chilling. You could be up in a chat, just hit them up in a chat, and they'll read it out loud and correspond with you that way. That's what brings a lot of that connectivity from artists to fans. It's pretty dope.
That's dope. Yeah, I a lot of people have been suggesting that I get on there too. I want to figure out a way. Well, not figure out a way, but at some point, I think I want to make this a live thing.
You know,
I feel like I need to tighten it up a little bit more before I do that. But I definitely I love the streaming aspect of it. I love podcasts that are live streamed and stuff like that. So I definitely would love to get in there at some point. And when the pandemic first started, I was cooking up beats like on Facebook. I don't know if you caught any of those. I was doing like
yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah.
these live cookups, and the last one I tried, I was just having mad internet connections and stuff like that. Sometimes I just get frustrated and just give up. So like at
The
that point,
technical
yeah,
difficulties.
the technical difficulties, I was just like, fuck it. And I almost did that with this podcast. Like I was having technical difficulties like crazy when I first started, but I'm like, nah, I want to figure this out. And then like, I did like four or five that were like okay, but I was just having technical difficulties, but I just kept doing it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I got
You
this.
know?
I got
Yeah, no, I was
this.
listening to LP talking about that too. Just it's a whole you're learning another ball game trying to wire up all that stuff into your place and having the quality again because
Oh
a lot of
yeah.
times that's what's going to separate you too. You know,
Yep.
having
Yeah.
a having a band play live and having that quality there to be able to translate that, you got to have some skills unless you're paying somebody.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and that's where like with this podcast, I was nervous about the quality, and like I said, I was having mad technical difficulties at first, and I'm like, this is gonna be awful. Like everybody knows me as an audio engineer, and the audio sounded like shit, and like this is, but I like the first feedback I've gotten was like, dude, this sounds great. Like, man, you're mixing this great, and I'm like, all right, I appreciate it. Hell yeah.
That's what's
And
up.
yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like if you want to do something, you just got to try it. You just got to hop in. You know, if you got an idea, you just got to go for it.
I think audio comes first and foremost, anyways, because
Right.
there, I went from actually you didn't have any of the videos up, so I was searching around for the videos, but then I went up and it was on Spotify, and so I just had Spotify up while I was driving. It's like easy enough to listen to something for an hour when I'm doing that.
Hell yeah.
But the production's good too. If it was to go and hear something that was crispy crackling, it's a little
Right.
tougher to get through. I might get through it, but it might be tougher. But yeah, that audio is going to be what's going to give you all those avenues. And yeah, I think it sounded alive. I was enjoying.
The way I do it is just crazy. Like I'll tweak it. Like I'll spend like hours just tweaking. Like I'll spend like an hour straight just like on the mix, just making sure that, everything sounds decent.
You notice other things that other people aren't even going to notice.
Exactly. And that's the producer though. Like that's the engineer in me, man. I mean, I'm a editor. Like that's what I do.
That's always going to be there.
Right.
That's not going
Exactly.
anywhere.
Exactly. Especially when you go to school for it and stuff. And yeah, you you don't get rid of that.
Yep. Yep.
I'm trying to be less of a perfectionist though. I got to get to a point where I'm like okay, this is good. I need to just walk away from it because I know that like I just got to get quicker with it. Like I got to get like to the point where like okay, this is good. Like I just need to move on and like
Yeah.
not. And I think I mean that wasn't the problem with your album, but that's been a problem with me when it comes to music in general. Is just being
We've
a
always talked about quality over quantity.
yep
It seems like nowadays though, it's just cut down to like 2 minutes a song.
yeah
Not so much with like what we had done recently, but I think even with that kind of trendy stuff happens, um, kind of touching on what we were talking about earlier, you're always going to have people that are in the times, but are bigger than the time. So like, even though somebody like Nas or Jay Z might have been doing some of what some of these other people were doing at the time, they were doing it still differently. You could
yeah
tell that they had that longevity. What they were doing was in their lane, and there wasn't going to be any stopping them. You get the same thing with like a J. Cole or a Kendrick Lamar now. You know, the Anderson Pack. These guys are going to be guys that are going to stick around. They're not going anywhere.
straight
The
up
other guys are going to come and go. But
yep
that's what we all. I think that's what we hated the most because you might have had a favor between Jay Z or Nas, but either way, both those guys were going to be legends no matter what.
oh
You
exactly
know. But who else was out there with them? I
right
don't know. Some guys in some white long tees.
yeah
You
Yeah,
know. Look.
exactly. And then that goes back to what I was talking about with like the 2005, 2006 era. How many of those dudes are like doing stuff now? Like I don't hear I mean you hear about Soulja Boy like saying crazy shit on like The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Um
Yep.
and then like Young Jock, where the fuck is he now? Like I mean people like that, it's just they're come and gone.
Even if they had more than one hit, they were just around for the couple of years going on, and
Right.
hopefully they save their money up right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, the people and I feel like we got some legends right now that are like have come up in the last like 10 years. I mean, Kendrick, J. Cole, I Drake, as much as like people hate on him with ghostwriting and all that stuff. I mean, you can't deny the dude's legendary status at this point, I feel like.
Yeah, he's definitely
Um
another one of those guys that just does what he wants. He just
right.
wants to have fun on a pop song, and he's just going to do it. You
Yep.
know,
But man, thank you for joining me, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship. Appreciate all the conversations we've had. I appreciate all the collaborations, all that, bro.
Hell yeah, man. It's always good, all these years later, like I said, one of the first people that linked up doing music and doing shows, and um, it's always a blast to have that conversation. And even if we ain't seen each other for a minute, we always can just jump right back into it.
Exactly. Yeah, we got that one of those friendships, man.
Well, hey, it was good talking with you, man, and I look forward to many more.
Yes, sir. We'll do it again soon.